Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. We were lucky enough to sit down with the amazing Christina Lacure today for episode number 386. Like I said, we are going to talk about humble pie and why it is important to eat it. You like that name?
I do.
Not bad.
That's fire. Strong work.
Thank
So
you.
I want to provide a little context. I was thinking about this earlier, and we talk about the drive to 5 a lot, right? On the 0 end, you've got people who struggle with self-doubt, who don't believe that they deserve a mentor, or maybe they're too afraid to get one. And then on the 10 end, you've got people who don't think they need a mentor. They have a higher inflated view of self. Basically, their confidence exceeds their competence. Whereas on the low end of drive to 5, you have people whose competence exceeds their confidence. Oftentimes, right? And so the drive to 5 is really living in the truth. And I think that what's interesting is when you are on the low end and you gain confidence, and then you become, when you do feel confident and you do build that self-esteem, now all of a sudden you do have confidence, so you don't necessarily know how to deal with that. And if you aren't careful, you will have an ego, and it will hold you back. Similarly, if you're on my end of drive to 5 and you do have confidence, but you get really, really humbled, and or it's almost like when I have a really humbling moment in my personal life or my professional life, it's almost like I can self-deprecate. It's difficult for me to know when I'm at 5. Because for me, sometimes when I feel really low, I might be trying to be perceived as humble rather than allowing myself to live in my authentic confidence, if that makes sense.
Interesting.
But I do think humble pie is a really important piece of this puzzle, because the moment you get humbled is the moment you're ready to learn again, the moment you're ready to be a student.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was going to say. Like, whether you're low on the drive to 5 or high on the drive to 5, the one thing you're not doing most likely is asking for help because you don't think you need it. So when you get humbled, you realize very quickly that I do need help. I don't know this. I'm way in over my head, or I'm whatever it may be. And then you're humble enough to ask for help. And I think that's like one of the most important things. If you think you know, or you think you can't know, you'll never ask for help.
You said this to me recently. You said, I was talking about leadership and how I want to be a better leader, and how I really feel like I've been a poor leader in certain regards lately, as I learn, because we're outside of our comfort zone here. And you said the key is going to be knowing what you know, knowing what you don't know, and then being okay, knowing when it's time to be okay that people don't think you know.
Yeah.
And I think that last one's hard for me, where it's like when I'm trying to add value to someone, but they don't perceive me as the expert, it's difficult for me to add value. Honestly, that's okay now. I just want to get better at realizing, like, I don't need to add value to you then, because you don't need to know that I'm awesome at this. And one day you will come to me for help with this thing, and that's okay. Now's not the time. I think timing is everything.
Well, I think that part of it is knowing when you don't know is drive. All of that. That is the drive to 5.
Yeah.
And you should if you can know when you don't know something, you're going to save yourself a lot of pain, but you're also going to kind of bring pain on yourself. So if you're arrogant, you're going to save yourself pain by not looking like a fool. If you're on the lower end of drive to 5, you're probably going to bring yourself a little bit of pain by having to get out of your comfort zone to ask for help. And then realizing, well, I really don't know this. But what I do know is I can learn it. Right? There's the strength and the weakness at each end.
We only have a minute here, but if you wouldn't mind giving an example where you were on both ends, because you've been a 10 before, you've also been a 0. What did you do about it? And what do you recommend people do when they're on the... What I'm realizing is just because you're on the low end of drive to 5 does not mean you're going to always be there. Because I've seen some people on the low end of drive to 5 have like an 8, 9, or 10, and it's like, whoa. And then they get a lot of pain because they think they're more competent than they are. Yeah. And then vice versa on my end going to the low end. So what do you recommend?
If you're a 10, go do a speech, and you'll figure out whether or not that... I mean, that was it for me. Like, I gave a speech, and again, by all outside standards, people could have said, like, they actually did. They said, oh, we can't wait to have you guys back. That's fine. I didn't do my standard because I know I went in with an inflated ego, and it's not a good place for me to live. If you're low on the drive to 5, I would literally say read Mindset by Carol Dweck. Yeah. Like, you probably have a fixed mindset. That's one of the biggest things. You assume that everything you do is final, and if you fail, that's it. Like, your reputation... This isn't, like, life outside of high school isn't high school. I know in high school when things go wrong, it seems like the world is ending.
Yeah.
And that's because high school is a big part of your world at the time. That's where you spend the majority of your time. If you try something and you don't succeed right away, it's not the end of the road for you, especially if you have a growth mindset. The thing that has brought me more confidence than anything is understanding that if I don't know it, I can figure it out. If I screw it up, it can be fixed. If I'm around people who understand failing forward, like I would say having a growth mindset is going to increase your confidence right off the bat as long as you have the right association with it.
I know we got to go, but what's one tangible thing where you felt like you needed humble pie, and after you got it, you started winning again?
Sparring.
Okay.
Yeah. When I went, I'll hammer this quick. What time we got? We're getting on a mastermind with Mark Metry in 1 minute.
Yep.
We interviewed Julian Wynn.
Yeah.
He is the co-owner of Team Link Muay Thai.
Yep.
One of the guys that works there saw me hitting the bag and said, "Yo, you got to come down. Like, I'd love to watch you spar." And in my mind, it's like, "Oh, damn, I'm getting scouted to spar." I got lit up. It was brutal.
No kidding.
Like, I couldn't touch this guy. It
Right.
was brutal. It was like we were speaking different languages. And for me, it was like, notice how you're always like, dude, you would crush it. You have to do a fight. No, man, your awareness is not there.
Right.
I probably felt the same way until I got in with one of the pros and realized very quickly that, like, he was just playing with me.
Yeah.
Because he knew he could kill me if he wanted to.
Right.
So that, for me, was a really good opportunity to get humbled. But now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know. So we got to go.
Okay, and your awareness raised, and therefore now you can elevate. 10-second blip, and then we'll go.
10-second blip. Get a growth mindset, and everything will change.
Humble pie is delicious. Eat it often.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan and I are both doing free 30-minute consultation calls. I'm doing it on podcasting. If you want to make money from your podcast, if you do not have your business built around your podcast, you want to get better clients, ask better questions, whatever that is, reach out, Kevin@thehyperconsciouspodcast.com. Also, we have a brand new website, www.thehyperconsciouspodcast.com.
Fire, strong work. We have masterminds every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please join us, connect with like-minded people, learn some things. You're going to elevate, you're going to grow. And we'll talk to you soon.
We love you guys, and we will talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.